iRacing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
There was dramas. There was a lot of talking coming out of Monza. It was a finish which I think nobody had really predicted. A last lap scramble which ended up with the driver in third position on track, picking up the race victory come the end of the race. From that driver takes the championship lead. And here at a very, very special circuit, it all kicks off again. We are here at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for round 3 of your iRacing Grand Prix series, brought to you on Saturday night for those in Australia, Sunday mornings here on SimSpeed TV. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. My name's Jake Sperry. Joined alongside me, as per usual, is Cameron Dance, and this Spa-Francorchamps circuit has a little bit of everything in store. 20 drivers today looking to take to the challenge, but 4 splits as well as usual. But Cam, the big question is, who now can really start to really flex and take the reins here around this place?
Certainly, and after last week's display of driving and the various incidents and all the drama that involved it, it's a big guess as to who's going to come out on top and who's going to end up walking away with this one.
Well, of course, the only way you can find out is with us right now. Qualifying is currently underway at the moment. The first times are coming in on the board. Tom Volstra provisionally then on the pole position on a 143.6 as things stand. 7 times have come through on the board, and if you haven't already here, ladies and gentlemen, you can like, you can share, and you can subscribe to the SimSpeed television network here for more amazing racing action that goes on up and down from Scops to Monday night the 8th. We've got the likes, of course, of the Aussie Car Series, and there is so much more that happens when it comes to here. But the big key at the moment is who has what time, who does what where, who finds what at the right time, and everybody will be hoping that this is going to be their track, their place, as we have a little look at some of the scenery here at Eau Rouge Corner. Eau Rouge and Radion, such a fabled corner, such an iconic piece of road, and a piece of road which of course has gone through a couple of iterations here or there, including over the last couple of years they've put a rallycross circuit there on the outfield part of the section. But really a place, Cam, where I think that everybody wants to race Spa-Francorchamps, and everybody knows this place demands and commands respect.
Certainly, it's up there with the likes of various tracks where you look at it and go, it can't be that hard, and then you drive it and go, oh yeah, okay, that's a little bit harder than I thought it was. And it's just one of those tracks where you've got like Bathurst, Nürburgring, and all those various different tracks where you go look at it from a track map perspective and it's not as hard as you think, and then you actually drive it and you've actually got to put a lot of effort into making sure you can extract lap time out of it. So it's one of those special tracks out there, and just one of the cool ones out there, and especially in an F1 car.
And just looking at those times that are coming in, nobody's been able to beat Tom Volstra at the moment. Just seen Thomas Knoll over the line. He's 9th in the championship. He does a 1:45.7. That puts him 13th. Freddie Vesti, though, just jumps up into the 6th position with that time. So looking okay at the moment, but we've got about 2 minutes to go before we get ourselves over towards the starting grid here for this one. And there's some surprising names up and down the order. A second time, I think, will be the ones which everyone's looking for. Track temp today is 28 degrees here in qualifying, and up into only 3rd goes driver number 4, Ben Fuller.
A little bit off the pace, so about 2/10 off what Tom Volstra has done so far to put himself in P1. But yeah, it's A little bit interesting to see he's been struggling in this season. He hasn't had that good of a run so far. He's been involved in a few different incidents, so we'll see what he can do from here on out, but certainly not been the most ideal start to his championship defence.
Absolutely not. We're on board with Reynaldo Augusto, though, going through Blanchimont, one of the most fearsome corners in all of racing. There is so much thrill into the final chicane, the former bus stop chicane, looking to make this drive to the line as nice and neat as possible. This is a good run from Reynaldo Augusto, but it's a 44-1 over the line, so that's good enough for 9th position then here in qualifying, going through the last horse hairpin. This is James J. Pinsker, who had a truly terrible run, I would say, last time out at the circuit of Monza. And over the line goes one Mr. James J. Pinsker and goes top. Wow, where did that come from?
Lap there. I didn't think he was actually going to end up getting that lap done either, because he pitted toe back to pit lane earlier. So yeah, that's really, really impressive to actually put it at the top of the timesheets there.
That is absolutely amazing, and it's a very, very jumbled up grid here today at Spa-Francorchamps. James J. Pinsker gets pole position then ahead of the fiercely forward car of Tom Volstra in 2nd position. Javi Roast will start from 3rd with Ben Fuller only 4th position. Just a reminder, in the iRacing Grand Prix series last season, Ben Fuller started from exactly this position as well. Matthias Ottarola goes from 5th place. He's been a consistency man all season long, with Dennis Branch in 6th, Christoph Montz in 7th, with Freddie Vesti in 8th position, with Fabian Siegmann in 9th position, and Reynaldo Augusto rounding the top 10.
Yeah, Cedric Beale, followed by Matt Wood, Jamie Hall, Daniel Beta, and Danilo Sanfilippo rounding out the top 15. Ian Meredith in 16th, 17th to Thomas Knoll, Anthony Catt in 18th, and then rounding out the field will be Tanner McCulloch and John Pat Kelly.
A very, very reduced field to compare to what it was last week and the week before that, mainly because of the way how things are splitted. Now, here's the track conditions right now. It's 28 degrees in the air. We're at just about 2 o'clock coming up for the green flag. Wind is gusting in from the south around this place. That's going to be very crucial. That's going to be very, very helpful on the run up the Kemmel. And of course, this race is 29 laps long, so you've got 201 kilometers worth of racing action, and of course that one pit stop that looks like it's going to come into play for this event. And this is one which I think that you lay it on the table. No championship leader Michi Kaiser here today. This is all about pick up your points, and pick up your points quickly, because this is one of those events where when you're going up alongside the Petit Le Mans, which is going on right now, these are sometimes some very, very crucial places to go and get some points, and get the quiet points, I think is the right way to say it. Quiet points are the ones that sneak up on you late in the season and go, how on earth did you get those sorts of points, and why are you in this position in the championship? Time to make things happen. It's going to be very crucial to look, though, at who is on the pole position, because they have the inside covered towards turn number 1, but crucially they will not have the clean side of the circuit as they go and make that push over. Keep that in mind as they start to make that run. This is going to be all about who has what here today. Everybody's going to be getting themselves ready. The last drivers then up then on to the grid. 29 laps worth of racing action at Spa-Francorchamps, and it will be starting right and about, and it will be now, and it's a slow start off of the front, then caught out immediately. They're bogging down off the start. Bolster will take full advantage and take the lead. Everyone nicely through as they go through to turn 1. A little bit of contact there. That's Ben Fuller on the outside, who gets a little bit shuffled then as they go on through. And now up to Orush and Radion they go for the very first time, side by side. Before the fifth position, they ride up the hill, and it's worked very, very nicely. And they can see all of the smoke going through as they now look to jostle the position onto the Kemmel straight for the first time. And immediately we're starting to see a little bit of battling then as Montz wants through on Branch. And now look at that, almost 2 tyres to the grass for Freddie Vesti down the inside.
A big move by Freddie Vesti to send it up the inside. Had to get 2 wheels in the dirt as a result, managed to hold the position, but Montz is going to come back in him on the way down into the following corner, just down the hill, and he's going to send it up the inside and take the position back, or is he? Yes, he is.
He is at Bruxelles, and there's Ben Fuller as well in front once again, still going to fight at Jackie Ick's corner. And now you start to think, okay, a little bit wide, got to be careful. That is Ben Fuller now up into 4th position. He's drawn Matthias Ottarola then into 5th place. There's the front three at the moment, Volstra from Rose, and then behind that, there is your pole sitter, James J. Pinsker, there in 3rd position. A little bit raggedy and behind, but this is Pinsker right now we're on board with. Was on pole position, but completely bogged down off the start, and that was pressure that got him early on. But behind that, it's all nice and calm. Everybody's got through quite nicely, but here comes Freddie Vesti again. He wants Dennis Branch this time for 8th position. He wants to get himself through, and Branch lifting out then as they go to Blanchemont. It's so deadly, and the last thing he wants is too wide there. I think Branch was not very happy about having to lift out.
Probably the safest option, especially this early on in the race as well, to not try force it too wide through Blanchemont. So he's going to slot him behind and try and follow Freddie Vesti through, who's on an absolute charge at the moment. He's trying to knock down Mons, is still going on at the front of the field, and Rose isn't too far out of this either.
Slow down penalty as well for Daniel Bieder at the end of the opening lap, so he'll have to drop back down. He's into 15th place, but Volstra 4/10 clear of Javi Rose. There'll be no DRS until the end of the next lap. That's going to be crucial as they go on through. That wing flap activates on the start of the 3rd lap of this race as they look to all try and look and battle. Look at all the weaving going on in the background there as they try and go through. That's Daniel Bieder making a way around Ewan Meredith there into 14th place, and the recovery starts now for the Israeli, who wants to try and get through on the medium compound tyres. You can tell by the yellow wall on the outside. A lot of drivers went for the red walled soft compound tyres, so it's going to... Oh, no! Bang! Into the wall. There goes Meredith.
It's not the way that he's going to want to start this race at all, and just got a little bit too eager on the throttle, and as a result, bit of wheel spin into the wall.
And we're going to catch this on the Motum simulation replay here. Going through Malmedy corner, Bruxelles is next here. And this is a down the hill right-hand bend, which connects one part of the lap to the next. And you look to try and put the power down as early as possible. Back steps out, the torque oversteer, and hard into the wall. And so fortunate that all of the cars trying to go on through did not run into Ewan Meredith, who was spread eagle across the circuit, and there you can see how much that Meredith is struggling. There is no nose cone, and everything now is about survival. There is Christoph Mons in 8th position. We just looked from the exhaust for the time being, as he's got Dennis Branch behind and Freddie Vesti just in front. Tom Bolstra sets fastest lap of the day, then 1:45.998 then at the front of the field as he pulls the gap out in the fiercely forward McLaren MP430 to 7/10 of a second. But now it's all about who can keep themselves in tow as they rise up Eau Rouge and Radion.
Certainly, and DRS going to be enabled, so everybody going to try and get some overtaking done and do a bit of defending as well. You can see them all opening the flap, and a couple of drivers also going defensive in the background there, but it doesn't look like there's going to be really any moves happening. But up the inside is Cedric Beale going to throw it on Jamie Hall.
He is, and Cedric Beale then moves up into 12th position. Jamie Hall will want that one back, and will want that one back quickly, but the difference is that's a soft compound tyre for Cedric Beale. That's a medium compound tyre for Jamie Hall. So Hall's looking to go a little bit longer in this race then, in comparison to the soft compounded tyre that Cedric Beale is on. He wants to have an aggressive run early in this race to Cedric, make some places, get the track position, and then make that stop to try and get himself as much of an undercut as possible. There is Javi Rose, though, in 2nd position right now, looking to try and chase down 1st place in Tom Bolstra, and he's done very well actually over this lap. He's closed down half a second worth of gap at this moment in the draft, heading towards Blanchemont corner, which is this left-hander right now. And there is the dirty air effect coming into play as they look to hit the brakes. It looks like they're trying to drop James J. Pinsker right now. That gap is just teetering at 9:10.
Just there or thereabouts between them breaking the draft and DRS range as well. So they can get a nice exit out of the source. They might just be able to do enough, but Rose is very close now, and he's going to have the advantage on the way up Eau Rouge and Rodillion, and also down the Kimmel Straight as well to have DRS. So move inbound, I reckon, for the lead here is Rose is very close, but might not quite be enough at this stage.
We've also seen a mistake for Ronaldo Augusto, but not just yet is that move going to happen then. So there'll just be a waiting game, but that was something worth keeping in mind. Branch and Model upside down. And Rouge and Radion, that's Ronaldo Augusto, who just had a moment, I believe, at turn 1, and that is game over for Reynaldo Augusto, upside down, and that, in the case of an actual race, would be a red flag, and oh my goodness, is he okay? So let's have a little look here at Reynaldo Augusto here, see exactly what has gone wrong. So he goes through last source turn number 1, and he loops the vehicle around and does tag the inside wall, so has to do a 180 to get it going again. There's no nose on the car, and I believe this is going to be a case of getting up to speed and finding out, oh, I've got no front downforce here, and therefore my car doesn't want to turn very much, and therefore I'm in the wall incredibly hard, up the hill, oh, I've got no downforce, I'm in the wall, and this hurts a lot.
Yeah, it's certainly not the most ideal situation, and it's not exactly the most fun one either, hitting up that hill and discovering you can't turn right. So, yeah, not going to be too ideal there for Augusto, and it's going to be a move for the leaders. Ross is going to try and go around the outside, and he's going to manage to hold on to it, so that will be the lead of the race. But the question is Volstra going to be able to come back at him? And the fact that he's this close should be fine for DRS on the way down the Kimmel Straight.
And what I found... Yeah, just running wide, so Javi Rose then brings himself into a range, as does James J. Pinsker as well in third place. But Volstra here, I think, is set up for the straights where Javi Rose is geared up for the corners. Up Eau Rouge, up Radion. Now they'll hit the Kemmel Straight. They'll get the DRS activation marker right there. You can see how defensive Javi Rose is. And look at Volstra. Bye! He goes on by. And that, for Tom Volstra, is the difference between a low downforce package and a medium downforce package.
Yes, certainly. And with the fact that he had DRS as well, it just meant he absolutely blew on by down the Kimmel Straight, managed to retake the lead, but Rose is going to come back at him on the outside, barely going to hold onto it somehow and retake this lead.
How many times have we seen that happen? He pushes wide off the exit, and now they're starting to just tumble up into each other right now. Pinsker there in third positions on the back of this one now will feel very much obliged to make those moves. Javi Rose looks so good through Pujon Corner. He gains a couple tenths through there because of the downforce and the dirty air effect. Look at Pinsker. He's just so easily able to follow Tom Volstra, but Volstra is built for straights. He's built for DRS. He is built for gaining time in that mentality. So this is where you start to think and wonder, okay, well, who's got what where? Javi Rose at the moment, you can see from making that move around the outside, he's gained 8 tenths in the middle sector alone.
Yeah, he certainly has, and he's really hauling at the moment. He's going to be not too far off from possibly being involved in this lead battle and possibly even getting the lead if he can keep this pace up. So we'll see what happens, but he does have to remember that he's got to look after those red soft tyres as well, because he wants them to go the distance, so he can't really afford to push too hard, but at the same time he's got everybody charging from behind him as well.
Well, this is the worry, because they're starting to trip up over each other. Ben Fuller's 1 second back of James Pinsker right now, and you've got Ottarola and Siegman on the back of that. 1 second off the back of that is Freddie Vesti as well. So that's the top 7, currently split by just 4 seconds. Here's the fight for the racing again. Volstra's already through. That's amazing from Tom Volstra. Club Benelux as he gets by. Javi Rose in the fiercely forward. McLaren MP430, so no worries at all. But Ben Fuller's now down into 5th place. Matthias Ottarola absolutely waltzing on through.
Yeah, certainly managing to get the job done before they head into Lecum that time by. So Fuller going to drop down another position. He's going to have a lot of pressure from behind from Fabian as well.
Yep, Fabian Siegman, car number 2 in this field. He has the 2nd highest rating out of anyone. The one with the highest is down in 10th place right now. That's Matt J. Wood. But Ben Fuller is the reigning champion in this series, all the way back in the Williams FW31 as they hit the brakes and go through the right-left of the Fania chicane right now, looking to attack. Now, this is at this point that we start to think about, okay, strategy card. Where do you go? What do you do? And for those on the soft compound tyre, you could say anywhere as early as lap 12 might be the time to dive down into the lane.
Yes, certainly. And really is a big question, especially with it being such a long lap here and such a slow pit stop as well, pit lane as well. So you've kind of got to try and balance it out so that you're not going to end up in traffic, but you are going to be able to try and jump the drivers ahead of you and behind you. So you've really got to think about this, but at the same time, you want to try and not go too long or too short at the same time. So you've really got to just try and think about it as best as you can.
Top three then go through the last source hairpin. They look to attack then up this next section. Ottarola as well, also a little bit tame through La Source in 4th place. So Fuller might have a chance to get back here as they take the rise. Javi Rose needs to chase. How wide do you want to go? James J. Pinsker, they've got to worry about instant points. That was the big key, of course, last time out. You can see Volstra weaving every which way to try and break, but Javi Rose with the medium downforce, not enough. And here comes Siegman up the inside then. So that was Fuller getting rid of one, and then Siegman just making light work of it. And Vesti's trying to be a little bit sneaky. Pick your pocket, why don't we? Doesn't get that one done on Ottarola.
Yeah, not quite going to be able to get the position off Ottarola that time by, but he's looking very, very racy as Vesti. So we'll see what he can do and whether he can put those Formula 3 skills to use or not.
Well, not quite there, but he'll definitely want to make sure that all of those skills are being tested. Look at Javi Rose. He's all over the back of Tom Volstra, but this middle sector is so difficult to go and make moves. He looks to try and line up here at the campus corner here. This right, Stavilo follows that, and then you've got corner Paul Frere, of course, which is a small left-hand bend, which leads on after that. So it's all about setup here around this track. There's so much strategy that's coming in. And I think the driver who's in the best position here out of the top three, who are now starting to pull away because of all the battling, is James J. Pinsker, who's just been quietly sitting there in the background, just trying to keep in a range to make sure that he is drafting, potentially saving a bit of fuel. And look at Javi Rose again, so good through the final chicane. They were split by just 100th of a second over the line as they go to La Source.
Yeah, certainly not a lot in it between the two of them, and Rose is going to have the advantage this time around, but Pinsker's there, so he can probably nearly get involved in this battle, although he's probably a little bit too far behind to be able to get a move done, but Rose is probably going to be in a very good position to try and at least get close enough to make a move.
Onto the Camel, and again, it's a case of Tom Volstra does enough with pure pace on that section going on through, so they're doing well. Ottarola and Siegman now, and also Ben Fuller here, side by side. Vesti's into the mix as well as they fight for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, and Ottarola's the one who runs wide and drops it back. But has Vesti got a slow down penalty here, or is he just defending? Because he drops a lot of time to Ben Fuller. He gains it all back though in the mid part, so he's doing okay there. And now through the left of Jackie X, he's all fine and dandy for the moment. So Vesti up to 6th, Fuller to 5th, and now Fabian Siegman is now in 4th place.
Yeah, a lot of shuffling in that little pack there. Didn't look like he got a slowdown, did Vesti, so just a little bit of defending there, but certainly a lot going on in this little battle pack just behind the lead of the race, and you can see the gap that Siegman has already pulled on Ben Fuller, so look, quite a lot of pace in that car at the moment, and running a little bit wide as well on the way through Paul Frere curve, but Vesti's lining up Ben Fuller here, so expect a move sometime shortly.
Well, it's all about setting up these moves, and we've seen it so far. Look at Javi Rose. Which way do you want to go? I want to go left. I want to go right. It's going to be defended here, and around the outside again. Tries Javi Rose to get this one done. Volstra, though, decides I've had enough of this. I'm taking my stop on lap 8 of 29, which is incredibly early and suggests yellow wall tyres potentially.
Yeah, I'd say so. There was some talk that the drivers weren't really getting a lot out of their tyre, well, being able to get a lot out of their tyres this around here, so it'll be interesting to see what he does from here on out and whether he ends up possibly having to do a 2-stop, but nevertheless we'll see where he comes out and all of it. Ben Fuller decides to come down onto the lane as well, so 2 people already taking tyres at the stage.
And it's a lot earlier than we were really expecting. Here's Dennis Branch, out comes Volstra, yellow-walled medium compound tyres. And is this just ahead of Anthony Catt, who will be trying to go side by side up Eau Rouge? Oh my goodness me, that is fantastic from Anthony Catt, who's got it done up Eau Rouge and Radion.
And he's going to have DRS down the Kimmel as well, so he's put himself in a nice advantage there, but what a move, and that could have gone very pear-shaped very quickly for Volstra, but that's not going to be what he's going to have wanted at all.
Well, it's only the 3rd of October, but I believe that's iRacing Top 10 of the Month worthy. How often do you make that happen? Ben Fuller there in 17th position behind John Pat Kelly, his own teammate. But here's the top 2, Javi Rose, James J. Pinsker right now. And there's a little wiggle from Javi Rose coming out of the campus corner. That could put him in a little bit of a disadvantage throughout this entire run. And that's Ben Fuller around.
Yeah, certainly not what he's going to want it at all, especially having come out of the pits now and seemingly everybody's getting caught out by that corner on the exits.
Oh, just putting the power down. He's on cold tyres, remember. He's fresh out of the pit, and he needs to get those tyres to an operating temperature, and ultimately, it's one that didn't quite work out for Ben Fuller. Here is Volstra. He'll want through on Anthony Cat, A, S, A, and P here on the medium compound. Cat, at the moment, doing just enough then in 13th place, just to hold that up for the time being. On the brakes they go into the chicane, nothing doing. Little lock up there from Anthony Cat. That'll be a little bit concerning as they start to go through. In comes Ottorola, though, to make the pit stop, and this should be very, very comfortable. Up on the Jackson, back down and away. Volstra is going to go on by, but expect him to stay ahead of Ben Fuller then at this stage after that sort of stop potentially.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably going to be a nice, comfortable position to put himself in, but the question is, where is he going to come out in relation to the front two? That is the big question at the end of the day.
Absolutely it is, and well, there are also other questions that are going to be going on, and that is, of course, those who started on the mediums. Are they going to be in such a good position here in the mid part of the race where their strategy comes into play, going on to maybe a soft compound red wall tyre at the end of this race? There's a lot to try and dissect here with this one, but your front two at the moment, Javi Rose and James J. Pinsker here, they are looking to try and attack. It's Club Iberia versus Club UK&I at this stage. They go through here the Stavelot corner and on towards Curve-Paul Frere and then Blanchimont here on lap 10 out of 29. We are 1/3 of the way through this race, and Javi Rose, who knows how to be aggressive, knows how to win these sorts of races, now has to start thinking about, okay, where do we get ourselves? How best placed are we here? And when's the right time to dive in? In comes Javi Rose. That leaves James J. Pinsker out there on track for the time being. So in comes Javi Rose. And now, with Volstra dispatching of Anthony Cat, but getting caught up for a lap, everyone follows behind. Branch and Mons both come in.
Yeah, so this is going to be very, very fascinating to see where they come. It did look like there was possibly contact between the two of them on the way in.
Sounded like Dennis was apologising over the in-game radio here to say, oh, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to touch you there, Christoph. And ultimately, we'll catch a Motum simulation replay of this one then. See if there was a little contact on entry. You can see there how Mons was so narrow trying to take it. Ooh, bang. There's the contact.
Yeah, just barely slight contact, and it's just managed to jump Branch by actually quite a little bit of a margin as well. So not too bad, but the gap that Rose has over Volstra is quite significant after the pit stop. So Volstra's lost out big time there as a result of what's happened being held up by traffic.
1.4 seconds. Vesti around the outside of John Pat Kelly, who's yet to stop. There's yellow wall tyres on Ottorola, so they both come out in a similar position. But Javi Rose has won this at the moment on an overcut at this stage. So work to be done, but that's Thomas Knoll in front of Javi Rose, who will have to try and get by. But this is John Pat Kelly here in 14th. He's on the old soft tyres, and that's going to be the worst because they hit their cliff a lot earlier than others.
Yeah, they certainly do hit their cliff a lot earlier, so might struggle here, but nevertheless, we'll see what he does. Does Pinsker pit this time by, though? That is the big question. Yes, he does. So he's going to have to bring it on down to the lane, and this is going to be quite fascinating because Rose is coming through Blanchimont now.
John Pat Kelly out of the race. We were talking about how old tyres are hitting their cliff a little earlier, and this looks like there has been a big hit. So John Pat Kelly going through Pouon corner here, this long left-hander, and has he gone himself into a bit of trouble on the exit? Oh, you bet he has, because that was Christoph Mons trying to find a way through, and ultimately got caught in a position where effectively he couldn't really do anything about it. You're going to see here, he's got so much speed through the second part of this section, and then at that point, what can you do there if you're Christoph Mons? Bang, a little bit of net code there, but that was always disaster.
Yeah, it certainly was, but it's certainly all on for the leaders. Pinsker's barely managed to put himself in a position to be looking good here on the way up the Kimmel straight, and Volstra's going to look to make a move on Rose here, going to do it, and he's going to take the lead of the race.
3 in 1 straight. Oh, wow, what a move there by Tom Volstra. How do you do that? And Pinsker looking to be brave as well. Down the inside, he dispatches of Thomas Knoll as well. And now this is the part where it all plays out. Around the outside again, tries Javier Rose. He'll have the inside for the next part, and that defends the corner. You do not put one on me like Mika Hakkinen did against Michael Schumacher with Ricardo Zonta. Oh no, I'm wise to that. I can get it back at the next corner.
Yeah, certainly. He managed to get the job done. You can see on board from Pinsky here that Volstra just blows on by with the RS and then just drives it straight by Rose at the same time.
It's like watching those Force Indias at the time in that race where Giancarlo Fisichella picked up position number 2 in 2009. It's that level of pace that we're seeing there on the straights. And then around the outside, trying was Javi Rose, and he gets this one done on the inside to Jackie X, just taking the inside away at the one-line Suitsall corner and says, middle sector's my domain. If you can't get it sorted there, I'm going to get this one going. In comes Siegman right now. That will promote Matt Wood to the race lead on the medium compound tyres. The first of the medium takers at the moment. Cedric Beale there in second position, still out there on the soft compound. So this is long from him, lap 13. And there is Jamie Hall now, currently in third position. So Siegman staying out. Has this one played into his hand?
Yeah, possibly has played it into his hands, but we'll have to wait and see what he does. Comes out on lap 13, so he's got a little bit of a run to the finish here on those soft tyres, but we'll wait and see what happens and whether he can use those to his advantage.
He's behind Branch and Mons, which indicates that he's gone out a little bit too long on the soft compound, and he'll need to use the overcut now to try and gain some places in this race. Rose is now clear by 1.8 seconds here of Tom Volstra. So Volstra here must have had a mistake somewhere out there on the track, because it's not often that Javi Rose just blitzes away to the tune of 1.8.
Yeah, certainly not, especially with the downfoot spec he's probably running as well. So a little bit interesting there, but nevertheless, he's done what he needs to do at this stage, which is do exactly that.
Exactly, it's all you need to do, and you can see here, there's Vesti in 10th, and he's got this battle going on. Tanner McCulloch here is in a scrap with Matthias Ottarola. McCulloch is one of the, I would say, community favourites when it comes to iRacing. A lot of people like Tanner and what he's done and what he does, and of course you've got there Matthias Ottarola behind, who is of course on fresher medium compound tyres and would really like to get through at this point.
Yeah, he certainly will like to get on by at some stage, preferably as quickly as he possibly can, but we'll have to wait and see, and he has done that.
He did, and he got that done easily. So in comes Cedric Beale from second position. This is going to be a painful stop for him as he drops on by. That's Javi Rose right now, who is now 1.9 seconds clear of Tom Volstra, out of DRS range, which is 1 second exactly, not a millisecond over or under. But at the moment, it seems like Javi Rose here has found exactly what he needs. And the big key is he needs to get through the next drivers quickly, because that's only 2 seconds down the road. Daniel Bieder, 2 seconds down the road from that, Jamie Hall.
Yes, certainly. He seems to have pulled a nice gap, and he's able to manage that as a result because of the fact that Volstra doesn't have any draft to work with. So he's doing exactly what he needs to, and as a result, he's really pulling away from the rest of the pack in well through the middle sector. Is that's interesting.
It is. It's soft compound again here for one Mr. Siegman then. So he's going to go soft here to try and get this one going. He's going to try and hold on then on the old soft tyre come the end. So he's got to try and use that soft tyre, and not only use it, but save it as well as he tries to go through the drivers. Ideally, he'd want some clean air, because of the fact that dirty air means that you're sliding around, you're understeering a lot more on the tyre, and you're making it so much more scraggled up as you go on through. Now here is Freddie Vesti. He's got Anthony Catt in front, who is of course on that medium compound tyre and would desperately want to get through here to try and chase down the likes of James J. Pinsker. He's only 5 seconds away from that, but at the moment he's got 2 vehicles in front to start thinking of. Vesti here will need to find places.
Yeah, he certainly will need to start thinking about getting a move on and trying to find some places, but it seems to not really have that good of pace at this point on those medium compound tyres, so we'll have to wait and see what he can do. But he's going to look to the inside, up the inside, and gets the move done on easily
Nope.
done on Cat, or does he? Because Cat's going to have the run on the exit out of La Source, and that is going to be him blowing on by.
It is, but there is, of course, that run up the hill. This is a much easier place. This is going to allow Autorola the chance now to maybe have a chop of attacking here. There's the DRS. There is Vesti, who will want to try and get by. He'll think of the inside. We look at Autorola's perspective here. He's in the catbird seat, looking at this one, and that's the move done. So nicely well worked then, as Autorola stays in 10th. Cat drops now down to 9th, and Vesti here moves up into 8th position in this one on lap 15 out of 29. There is Fabian Siegmann. He's already through on Dennis Branch, and going to 9 here at turn 1 on this lap was Tanner McCulloch, and so Siegmann will definitely want to get through someone who is sailing over towards the lesser-known regions of this circuit, and that might be a look down the inside. Oh, at Pouan. Oh, that's brave, and that's bold, and that's worked.
Yeah, he's managed to get the job done on the McCulloch. Nearly came back at him, but he's at least going to be able to build that gap to those behind him now as a result of McCulloch holding them up. So he's going to try and pull away here with those soft tyres and use this little bit of clean air to his advantage with Autorola not too far up the road as well.
Speaking of hold up, let's go to 3rd and 4th position, why don't we? Because Javi Rose has found the back of a Daniel Bieder and can't afford to stay too long behind Bieder, the Israeli, at this moment in time, running for Positive Sim Racing at this moment. That's not quite playing out the way he wants to here. The gap, though, still 1.8 seconds, but he knows that he's on the medium setting here, and Dan Bieder will definitely want to try and work as much as possible. Stay ahead. Into the pits then comes Tanner McCulloch, the first of the medium stoppers then in this one, as Autorola gets through on Cat almost.
Yeah, nearly managed to get the job done, but he's barely going to manage to hold on the way up out of Erosion Rodillian. But Autorola's got a very nice run on the exit, and he's going to have DRS this time by, and it's just going to sweep on by, or is he? That's very close to contact there, but manages to get the job done regardless.
Yeah, well worked, move, then completed, as does Freddie Vesti actually get through on Thomas and Knowles. So that puts Vesti up into 7th position, as does Javi Rose. But what cost did Javi Rose try and make that one happen? Because there is Tom Volstra. He's only 3/10 behind, but this middle sector, this is the one where it hurts Tom Volstra, and Javi Rose can use this to advantage now, build that gap, as Volstra has dirty air as well to try and deal with here.
Yeah, he certainly does, and as a result, it's going to slow him up a little bit and burn up those front tyres a little bit as well, but shouldn't have too many issues as he's going to get onto the run towards Blanchimont very, very shortly, so it's not going to lose too much time in terms of cornering speed, but nevertheless, he's not going to be too heavy being stuck behind some lap traffic.
Well, speaking of lap traffic, now Siegmann on the back of Autorola here has got Anthony Cat in sight. Thomas Knoll now under pressure from Autorola, who will want to try and go through now into 8th position in this race. This is where you're seeing the differences come into play. Siegmann's already through. Into the pits, I believe Jamie Hall has just dived from 2nd position, so that's going to be another place gained at this point. Outstays Knoll then for this one. So there is Jamie Hall down in on the lane, and here will come the move from Matthias Autorola potentially at turn 1. If it's not at 1, as he gets very close then on the brakes, it's going to have to be up the hill to make this one happen.
Yes, certainly it's going to have to be on the way up the hill, but Volstra is going to have pressure from behind from Daniel Bieder, and we'll have to wait and see if it's going to happen, but not quite. And Pinsker is going to be dragging up towards him as well, so Pinsker trying to recover here a little bit, but probably going to be a little bit of a mountain to climb at this stage.
Certainly is. Javi Rose is 2.5 seconds away at this moment from Tom Volstra, so that's not going to be ideal. Side by side, that's Monson Branch changing places once again, and of course when you've got a sticker of a different broadcast company on your car, you know you're going to be 2/10 slower on the straights, and that's the reason why Mont's going through on Branch.
Yeah, certainly would have been a little bit quicker if he had a SimSpeed logo, but nevertheless he's
It'll be a 4/10 swing.
Yeah, true, he would do, but yeah, he's managed to get that done, so it's at least making some gains at this stage, but it's probably starting to get a little bit late to try and make any more, so he's got a little bit of a long road ahead, but he's going to push on regardless and see what he can do from here on out.
Well, he's in 12th position. Jamie Hall's pitted come in and out in 15th place behind Cedric Beale. Now, this is James J. Pinsker right now, who's trying to get through on Daniel Bieder, and he's not going to be quite there at the moment, but Bieder's going to beeline into the pit, so that will put him down the order right now, and Pinsker will be released here to go and attack Volstra, but he's lost 2 seconds by being held up behind Dan Bieder, so this has really been a race of who can negotiate their way through the traffic best, and suddenly Fabian Siegmund's on the back of Matthias Ottarola here, fighting for 6th place.
Yeah, a little bit interesting that's actually managed to happen, and clearly the pit stops have worked out in the favour of Siegmund here, and he's going to have DRS on the way up the Kemmel Straight as well, so move inbound very, very shortly, and you can see he's closing in, but not quite going to be close enough.
Different downforce packages. It's very clear there. Matthias Ottarola able to hold him back on the medium compound tyre and without DRS as well. You can see as they just run over and effectively ground their cars around this place. There's a lot of smoke coming off the vehicles as they try and run on through. Look at this 4-car battle, though, all the way down for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. Ben Fuller and Cedric Beale now on the back of this one.
Yeah, Buden Fuller's going to want to be trying to recover what he can after what's not been an optimal race. And looks like Montz actually has a little bit of front wing damage, and so does Fuller as well. So probably going to be a little bit of a hard task here from the remainder of the race. But Branch is looking very, very racy, and is going to want to try and find a way on by Montz as quickly as possible, especially if Montz has got a bit of front wing damage as well.
And that front wing damage is going to change a lot of things in this race, especially as well with the fuel numbers here today. Of course, they aren't allowed to refuel these McLaren MP430s. You start with what you've got, and you've got to run with it. So they have to be really careful about what they do with it.
Yeah, they certainly do. You can't really afford to go flat out if you're going to be burning a lot more than what you possibly need or have in the tank as well. So you really got to think about it in that sense of, well, I can push hard and run out of fuel, or I can push hard and try and save a little bit just to get home. So you've got to try and strategize and think about it a lot more than what you used to be able to, where in the Williams you could probably push a little bit harder and just go flat out the entire time because you were able to refuel. But you can see here Siegmund all over the back of Ottarola here, and he's going to not quite be close enough for a move, but we'll be able to close in with DRS.
He's got the DRS, and there you can see it's at 3.5 tenths of a second. It's at 3 tenths, just under, and if you're only gaining 1 tenth on this straight, that's not enough to really make that a reality. So that's something just to be a little concerned about here in terms of Siegmund's charge trying to get through. He's run out of tyre potentially here as the blue flag racing car of one Mr. That is going to be Dennis Branch. Fights this one for 8th, 9th and 10th right now, as that's Anthony Catt, who is yet to make that stop still, who is holding up the entirety of the train. It seems going through the double left of Pouon corner here. This is going to be where nightmares start to be made, and maybe this is where we're starting to see the end of the life of the medium compound tyre after 19 laps worth of running.
Yes, certainly. It is a big question, and that begs the question, when does Matt Wood pit? And just as I say that, he actually is coming into the lane, but so we're not far off with the 19 laps being at the cutoff point for the medium, so we'll have to wait and see what happens here and whether there's going to be a few passes coming inbound for Anthony Catt.
And well, we could see this one happening then. Backing off a little bit was Christophe Montz. He wants the best possible run then on this straight. Catt runs wide, stays out for a 20th lap then on the medium compound tyre. Wood is there in the lane and should effectively try and slot himself out nicely in terms of this group right now. There is Matt Wood. He's just leaving the pits now, and he's going to come out right in the middle of this on fresh, soft tyres. So this is going to be a little nightmare. Middle of the pack. He'll have to get up to speed quickly. Dennis Branch gets ahead in the blue flag racing car, and now you start to think about, okay, well, DRS, we're in a fight now. He's number one, and look at the run on the fresh tyres. He immediately goes on it, and in fact, he dip tyres in the grass, and Cedric Beale remembers on soft as well, with 3 wide going through. Welcome to the highway. Beale on the outside. Oh my word, he just made a bit of contact, and he is forced to go straight on.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there for Beal, and unfortunately he's going to have a slowdown in the process as well, and that's not what he's going to want to, because it's basically been dropped all the way to the back of this little pack as well. So we'll see what happens for the rest of this little back pack, though, as Branch is going to end up wanting to try and get on by these drivers as well, but Matt Wood is just going to be absolutely charging, and is probably going to be able to find himself in with a shot of maybe a P7 if he can keep this up.
That was Cedric Beale chasing for a lane that, simply put, did not exist going on through, and it reminded me of Hamilton and Kobayashi there in 2011. So that just shows you how easy it is to get things wrong. Look at Matt Wood, though. He's now found Anthony Catt, who is on those old medium tyres, and that is a 0 lap old, or 3/4 of a lap old set of soft compound tyres that Anthony Catt is trying to keep behind at this moment in time. This is not ideal in terms of the race for Anthony Catt, who's trying to hit the brakes. Does he decide to make a pit stop? No. I think he's maybe trying to take that set all the way to the end of the race, and here comes Matt Wood. He's going to want to try and find a way through pretty much now, and he doesn't get it at turn 1, but he should get it up the hill when we're going to get the next rat race.
Yes, certainly, and here he goes side by side with Anthony Catt. Decides to back out, though, and that's going to leave him vulnerable to Christophe Mons, but not quite going to have the run there, as Matt Wood's going to be very close. Though Mons has got an actually decent run, so might get a lot of pressure here from Mons, and Mons might try to make a move, but that aero damage is going to hurt him a lot, and Wood is just going to absolutely blow on by Catt. Oh, Mons is nearly as well.
Mons, oh, that's very nearly ended up in tears there with Anthony Catt and Christophe Mons, and Mons now will definitely want through. We do also want to point out that the gap between second and third is almost a second right now, but there is Mons down the inside of Anthony Catt there through Bruchel's corner, and very easily done then is that move. Ben Fuller will be next to go through, but look at that gap down to 7/10. James J. Pinsker looking to try and get back second over Tom Volstra.
Yeah, you'll certainly be wanting to try and get back into the position. Well, James Pinsker, especially after what was a pretty mediocre start off the line as well, but Volstra seems to have a lot of pace. He's not quite going to be able to catch up to Harvey Rose, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. And Frederick Vesti's not too far behind Pinsker as well, and running pretty reasonable laps, but probably not quite going to be able to catch up. But he's got Autoroller for company, so not too far off a battle, I'd say, and Autoroller's probably going to want to make his way on by rather quickly too.
Is this the point where I say that 4th down to 13th are split by 10 seconds and 6th down to 13 are split by just 5, as it's a 5-car train behind Anthony Catt, who would make Jarno Trulli proud with the way that he is trying to defend. He gets DRS then on the short run front straight. They go through. Cedric Beale again looking through. There's Jamie Hall in the background as well. He'll definitely want to try and start thinking about a way through. Like 22 with 29. Hall goes side by side with Beale momentarily then on the run past the endurance pit, up Eau Rouge and Radion. And now it's about who's got the most speed underneath them to go and make those overtakes. There is Christophe Mons looking from behind here at Catt, trying to chase down. Ben Fuller definitely wants to make a move. He doesn't have enough to make it happen, and everyone else sits behind. And that is Dennis Branch down to 12th place now because of Beale's amazing pace on the straight.
Yeah, so continuing to drop and down the order, unfortunately, and he's not going to have much time. Well, he doesn't have many laps left to defend, but he's continuing to drop, and as a result, he's going to be under pressure from Jamie Hall, and is going to lose another place as well on the way down to Pujon, and Hall sends it up the inside, and that's another position gone.
Well worked by Ben Fuller. He's got one. Hall's got another one then on Dennis Branch, and now suddenly at Fania, it could be another one for Hall, who can't get past. Cedric Beale, bang, contact, 1, 2, 3, all around at Fania, and it was always gearing up to being a bit of tears, and all three of them effectively tripped up over each other like the accordion.
Yeah, they certainly did, and that was not what Beale or Branch wanted at all, and they're going to tumble down the order as a result of damage, and I'd say Hall is going to have a lot of damage as well after being pretty much sandwichized in between the two cars. But you can see here on the replay, Hall actually had a pretty decent run, but just didn't quite expect, be able to not quite have so much corner speed, unfortunately.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112,
And fastest lap of the race goes to Fabian Siegmann, 1:45.4, and he's only a couple of seconds here behind Ottarola and Vesti, who are in 4th and 5th position, so that one definitely not over. Matt Woods on the back of that 1.1 seconds. There is Volstra, not much of a gap he's got. They are, though, both starting to slowly reel in Javi Rose. The gap down to 3 seconds. He can't be satisfied with that. Pinsker trying to run around the outside. Oh, he's picked the pocket then. And Snipe, he's got that one fantastically. Pinsker's up to 2nd. And Ottarola's falling.
Yes, certainly is starting to fall a little bit here, and he's out.
So what happened there? Matthias Ottarola, who was all on his lonesome, by the way, as he was going on through. Where has he binned this one then? In that fantastic yellow McLaren, and he goes through the right, goes through the left, the smoke off of the back, and there you go, through Malmedy. Oh, how much air that would have really hurt going through there. Matthias Ottarola scaring those on the soft compound tyres and effectively running into trouble, and there you can see it from Matt Wood, who's got to effectively take the Ryan Hunter Ray route around.
Yes, certainly does, and not what Ottarola would have wanted at all, but just caught the curb and a little bit too much oversteering as a result, straight into the wall. So he's going to be done for this race. But just did notice that Siegmann has been running 45s. Everybody else has been doing 47s. So a lot of pace currently in the car of Siegmann's, and those soft compound tyres really starting to work nicely.
Wouldn't count out Matt Wood either. Remember, he's on fresher soft compound tyres at this stage, and that is Volstra absolutely demolishing in terms of the pace battle James J. Pinsker to the tune of half a second on half the Kemmel straight. That is ridiculous in terms of speed.
Yeah, got a little bit of a slowdown, did Volstra, and as a result, he had to serve it and get it out of the way as quickly as he possibly can. But Pinsker is all over the back of Volstra here.
Yep, so Pinsker there getting himself a little bit caught up, and Volstra then able to capitalise with that sort of pace as they now effectively fight for 2nd and 3rd. Javi Rose is now 4.8 seconds clear. There is the little bit wounded Dennis Branch, who finds Jamie Hall going through and up then into what is 13th place. There is Tanner McCulloch as well just behind. Remember, he's on that soft compound as well and would very much like it to go through on everybody in front. As we look at Dan Vida and Anthony Catt now fighting for 9th and 10th place. Catt still refusing to come down in and make a stop. And I think he may just be looking to try and salvage as much as he can out of it. Vida's looking for the inside here, but you don't often get them done on a run from Pouhon to Fagnes.
Yeah, you certainly don't. I don't know how he's managed to make those tyres last the entire distance, but he's certainly managing to do it as best as he can, but he's fallen down the order as a result rather quickly, and he's probably going to lose another one to Daniel Vida at some stage. Vida using the draft he can, but he's pretty much on the limiter, running right up behind, but not quite going to be close enough to get a move done. Or is he?
Well, actually, no. Time to prove you wrong. Down the inside, and there's a spinner, and that's Ben Fuller again.
Yeah, not quite sure what's happened there to Fuller. It just looks like he's gone in a little bit deeper and locked the rears as a result, unfortunately, and he's decided to bring it down on the lane.
Might be for incidents, of course, like it was 1 week ago. Fuller, oh, he just locks the rears. Just like that. Very, very simple mistake. Under braking from Ben Fuller. You very rarely see it out of him, but he has been completely shaken up. In the meanwhile, Matt Woods just set the fastest lap of the race on a 1:45.4. Both of whom, himself and Siegmann, have caught the back of Freddie Vesti.
Yeah, so those new, fresh, soft tyres really coming into play now with the fact that those mediums are going to be starting to hurt a little bit here late in this race, and in fact, they're not going to be offering as much grip as Pinsker's going to manage to get around the outside of Tom Volstra on the way to the chicane.
It was the inside first. It suddenly turned to the outside with how deep he ran through. And suddenly, there's the gap starting to grow. But Volstra has got that dynamite weapon of a right foot on the Kemmel straight, which is the great equaliser to all of this racing. Now, Vesti's got to be careful here about how he negotiates this. because he's got Siegmund, he's got Matt Wood just behind, and this can very easily end in tears at this moment. Beal through as well on Anthony Cat for 9th place at the moment, but now you start to wonder, okay, Mr. Vesti, time to defend, best foot forward. You got 4 laps to defend from this point onwards, and he's done okay through the corner, but Siegmund now will get that chance, and Wood behind will be definitely looking like he's ready to try and get this one going through as they all funnel towards that fantastic section. La Source, then Eau Rouge Radion.
Yeah, I did wonder if there was maybe going to be a move there from Matt Wood on Siegmund, but not quite going to happen on the way into La Source. But he's going to have the run and DRS on the way down the Kemmel Straight. But so is Siegmund, who's managed to pull a little bit of a gap there on Wood as a result. So we'll see what happens here. But you can see DRS now engaged, and you're going to be closing up on Frederick Vesti, and not quite going to be able to make a move, although up the inside, but no move done.
Going to have to be unorthodox then to get this one sorted. Round goes Siegmund. Wood goes with him. Wow. How? Wow.
I don't think there's any way to describe that. That's just what has happened there for that to happen, and just looks like Siegmund's lost it, and then Wood with nowhere to go, unfortunately.
The innocent bystander, Matt Wood, there will be incredibly upset with how that race went. Siegmund as well, who just got the nose unsettled going through Malmedy Corner. Everybody up 2 places then, ladies and gentlemen. So that will put Mons to 5th, Beda to 6th, Beal to 7th, Knoll to 8th, McCulloch now up to 9th. And Dennis Branch will be rounding out the top 10 at the moment. This has been a tough race. Over 25% of the field has retired from this one. Not so many issues for that one in the race lead. Javi Rose, 2.8 seconds clear now at the moment from Pinsker and Volstra. And it looks like at the moment, Javi Rose is just managing this race at the front and effectively feeling like, okay, I can just fuel save a little bit, manage all of my gaps, do exactly what I need to keep a margin at the front. But Volstra, remember, that dynamite right foot in 3rd position. He'll definitely be in range to attack, and he's already on the back. And here you go. This is where the dynamite right foot's already gone.
Yeah, it certainly is already gone, and unfortunately not quite going to be able to get, or hold on to 2nd place, will James Pinsker. So he's going to have to concede the position, and Volstra is going to try hunt down Harvey Rose, who's running 49s that last time by. So he's lost a lot of pace, although probably conserving the tyre at the same time. So we'll see what happens here. But Volstra is certainly going to be pushing on hard, and Pinsker's not going to give this one up easy.
Now, if they're clever here, they would trade places and try and work together, because they know that Volstra's good in the 1st sector and Pinsker's good in the 2nd. And then you've got even through the 3rd. There's a lunge down the inside. Now get out of the way here, Tom. Don't fight this one through the corner, and he can't. And there's the change then at Fania. I think they're quietly working this one to try and get through. 3.5 seconds the gap. But they have to do it in such a way where they do not just run into each other and effectively hold each other up. This is the key to those two thinking of the race win.
Yes, certainly, although it's a bit of a mountain to climb with the fact that Rose has had some very, very nice pace over the last few laps, but we'll have to wait and see what he does this time around. It was a 49.5 last time by compared to the 47.2s that Pinsker and Volstra were running. It's a 47.5, so he has responded as a result of those two pushing hard and working together, but certainly not out of this lead fight at all are these two.
Well, just look at the differences when it comes to top speed. Pinsker is doing 309 kilometers an hour on the straight. Look at Tom Volstra, 341 kilometers an hour on the straight. That is the difference you are seeing, and watch this now become reality. Right up in 8th gear, closing, and deciding to back out of it this time is Tom Volstra, who's not close enough to make that move, and maybe playing chicken for that 2nd place, wanting to make it happen on the final lap. You expect fireworks in this iRacing Grand Prix series. We've had 2 absolute beauties of races, and there's another little wiggle then from Javi Rose. And in the middle sector, Pinsker's very, very good through here and could be looking at trying to put the ultimate pressure then on one Javi Rose at this stage.
Yes, certainly. If he doesn't make any errors, Roast is
Vesti's
going to
made
be
a
able to
mistake.
have a nice race. And Vesti has made a mistake, actually, and he's behind Mons now. So he's had a bit of a half spin on the way out of Licum, and as a result, he's the drop in behind.
All on his own, 4th position under lock and key, and suddenly he's given it away to a thief. So now you see Vesti trying to attack Malmedy corner. He's done exactly the same thing as what Siegmund's done on the old tyres, just struggling. He had to find the reverse gear to try and get that one back going again. There is James J. Pinsker. The gap is 2.6 seconds as they start the final lap. Crucially, it's 1 second to Tom Bolstra at this stage. Has he just found enough? Little wiggle out at the end. Jamie Hall now and Ben Fuller starting to exchange places at the moment here as they start to funnel on through Pooh on the double apex left-hander. The last lap starting, and Fuller now drops behind Anthony Catt, who's had to bite the bullet and go on to the soft compound tyre going on through. So he'll go around the outside and pick one up. Ben Fuller's got nothing for that one. He probably didn't change tyres at his stop. But there is Javi Rose, who leads this one. Look at Volstra behind, though. This is going to be where all that pace is coming in. And like a whippet, he is straight on through into 2nd position like that. It's so rare. You see so much difference in top speed. They are the same vehicle, but now look at this one. Volstra's got to go defensive here. Which way do you go? Pinsker trying to open down the inside. Volstra has to leave the room, and suddenly there goes Pinsker back into 2nd. Volstra on the inside, though, does not have enough to argue, and now he's got to hold on through this entire sector here to get himself the chance on the run to the chicane. That's the only place he can really think about having any hopes of 2nd place left, because Pinsker's done well to hold that one. There is your race leader, though. He is Javi Rose. He was the mastermind through the traffic. That's all he needed to do. The only thing he really needed to do in this race was mastermind the traffic, as it was a battle of wits just behind. He broke the draft, and they said they'll never see him again as they make the run here towards Blanchimont corner, and then the final chicane. Vesti under pressure from Dan Beeder as well. 5th and 6th place. We'll watch that one come the end. But Javi Rose will take to the final 2 corners, and Javi Rose will win at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It'll be a drag race to the line for 2nd place, which Pinsker is going to win over Tom Bolstra. And now for 5th and 6th, Vesti's in a whole world of pressure here from Daniel Beeder, who will definitely want to try and take this place. On the brakes they go. Beeder's searching, but I think he's going to run out of road here. It's a short run to the start-finish line. He gets a good drive, but he is out of anything, or is he? Because Vesti's struggling, and nope, no chance of getting through. Dan Beeder is forced to sit and is forced to wait to get over to the end, and that is someone very nearly hitting the wall. That's Thomas Knoll, who's a little over-exuberant there on that celebration. I would say so myself. Anthony Catt, though, 12th place. He's still got a chance here on Jamie Hall for 11th. Oh, nice track extend there. Use all your incidents. Why don't you? You've got them to burn. On the brakes they go, into the right, left, and Branch, I think, is just going to hold on this top 10 position, and in fact, he definitely does as they go over the line, 10th, 11th, and 12th place then. So confirmation of results, well, they'll be coming up for you on your screen in the next couple of moments, because that was a race which had absolutely everything in it. Javi Rose picks it up then by 3.7 in the end over James J. Pinsker, the pole sitter. Tom Bolstra had the fastest car in a straight line, but it just was not enough in the middle sectors of that race. Ends up with 3rd position overall for Fiercely Forward. Christoph Mons, a little bit of controversy with a bit of contact earlier on, but he does get 4th place for his troubles, with Frederick Vesti in 5th place and Daniel Beeder, the Israeli driver, in 6th place. Cedric Beale will take 7th place after having a little bit of a moment at the Les Combes chicane. Thomas Knoll takes 8th place with a quiet but very respectful run to 9th place for Tanner McCulloch. Dennis Branch for the Blue Flag Racing Team, rounding out the top 10.
Then you have Jamie Hall behind with Ben Fuller in 12th after what's been a mediocre race for him. Danilo Sanfilippo in 13th, and you go back to Anthony Catt in 14th, and then Matt Wood in 15th as a retiree, and then Fabian Siegmund, Matthias Otarola, John Pat Kelly, Ronaldo Augusto, and Ewan Meredith rounding out the 20-car field.
And, well, there will be eyes towards where they head next week. They don't have to go far from Belgium. They have to go only to the south side of Germany, because we're going to, some would say, the home of sim racing, that being the Nürburgring, of course, where Sim Racing Expo tends to take place, and that is going to be in 1 week's time here on SimSpeed TV. The only place you can catch that is if you like, share, and subscribe right now for more amazing content brought to you by SimSpeed TV. A massive thanks, though, has to get it done from Motum Simulations, who have been on the replay, and of course from Jay Kennedy on the cameras, from Cam Dance, who's been on my left-hand side, and my name, Jake Sperry. It is Javi Rose who puts all of the pieces of the puzzle together to pick up the big race win, but it was a bit topsy-turvy today here at Spa-Francorchamps. A lot of contenders you wouldn't have necessarily expected, and this season now can suddenly diverge in an infinite amount of ways in terms of who takes what in this championship. The Nürburgring is going to be a really good downforce test for these drivers, and you feel like this could go any number of ways. We'll catch you in a week's time for the next thrilling installment of the iRacing Grand Prix series.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God.
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?